Hello and welcome to the morning sports briefing here on the 21st of June. It's a Sunday. Yes, it's the weekend. Hope you're having a great weekend, everybody. In the news today, Torpedo march on. The NRL, the sport that keeps on giving. Tactics win and Blues go out to record-breaking run. And that's right. You're listening to New Zealand Sports Radio. This is your best way to start the day up to speed with all of the important sports news. And let's get on to that football and start off with our favourite league in the world, the Belarusian Premier League. And yes, Islosh, they've just changed the score, also because games began on then. Islosh and Torpedo fought out a 2-2 draw, and Dynamo Brest beat Gorodeya 3-1. Ashwin will have the bragging rights there between Ashwin and Stephen. Also, we have Dynamo Minsk versus Energex playing currently, and it's 0-0 with time running out. So it looks like a draw in that one. Dynamo Brest now on a run of 4 wins. Season climb up to 3rd in the table. So good result for them. Moving over to the English Premier League. Yesterday, Tottenham Hotspur and Man United fought out a 1-1 draw. And you've probably seen some of Roy Keane's angry announcements about how Man United were playing. Overnight tonight, we've had Watford and Leicester also fight out a 1-1 draw. Brighton and Hove Albion beat Arsenal 2-1 at home. That'll help their relegation issues. And West Ham lost to Wolverhampton Wanderers 0-2. Bournemouth and Crystal Palace are playing, and the current score is 0-0. We'll give you a quick update on that at the end. Oh, actually, no, sorry. Crystal Palace have taken a 0-1 lead there, so an away lead there in the English Premier League. Moving on to the netball, and it might have been a draw at half-time, 20-all, but the Tactics stormed through in the second half to beat the Southern Steel quite comfortably, 43-36 in the end. They really dominated that third quarter and defensively shut out and stopped the Southern Steel from basically getting the ball to their shooters to have shots, because percentage-wise, their shooting was just as good as the Tactics, but they just could not get the ball to their shooters to have shots, and therefore took a lot less shots during the game. So congratulations to them. I'm now going to hand you over to, and remember, today is the first day we will have fans at the actual netball games. It's been friends and family for the first 2 games, but from today, fans can go as well. So look up, get your ticket. It is a small arena. A lot of those games are going to sell out, so I'd get along quick if you can. I'm going to hand you over to Stephen Harris now. He's going to take us through the birthdays.
Yeah, good morning, everybody, Paul. And that's great news for everybody out there who's a supporter of the netball game. And it's good news for these birthday recipients today as well, because it's the man they call the Mantis, a Whangarei-born Parramatta Eel, and finally a New Zealand-born Samoan rugby international, and that's where we start this morning's birthdays. Michael von Dinklage, born this day, the 21st of June, 1978, in Auckland, is a former New Zealand-born Samoan rugby union player. He played as a lock. Von Dinklage, who turns 42 today, was present in the 2003 Rugby World Cup roster, although he never played any game in the tournament. His only international cap was against Scotland at Wellington on the 4th of June 2004. Moving on, staying in the oval ball game, but the 13-man game, Dylan Brown, born this day, the 21st of June 2000, is a New Zealand Rugby League footballer who plays as a halfback and first 5 for the Parramatta Eels in the NRL. Brown was born in Auckland and grew up in Whangarei, New Zealand, and is of Samoan, German and Niuean heritage. Brown, who turns 20 today, played his junior rugby league for Hikarangi Stags at the age of 15. Brown moved to Sydney Australia to pursue an NRL career with the Parramatta Eels. And finally, Jeremy Coney, MBE, born this day, the 21st of June, 1952, is a former New Zealand cricketer who played 52 Test matches and 88 ODIs for New Zealand, captaining them in 15 Tests and 25 ODIs. He was one of New Zealand's most successful batsmen, at least by average, and he made 16 50s, but centuries often eluded him, and he had to wait 9 years to make his first century. By that time, he had turned 31. He only lost one Test series as captain against Pakistan away, and he became a Wisden Cricketer of the Year in 1984. Coney, who celebrates his 68th birthday today, was made a member of the Order of the British Empire in the 1986 New Year's Honours List for services to cricket. In 1990, he was awarded the New Zealand 1990 Commemoration Medal. And that's the man they call the Mantis, also part of the Sky Cricket commentary team. That's birthdays for today, Paul. I'll be back with what is going to be a really bumper issue of Rugby League.
Thank you very much, Stephen, for that. And moving on to the rugby. Don't forget, you can join us here at New Zealand Sports Radio for the Super Rugby Aotearoa Round 2 review this evening at 8 p.m, where we'll get on and talk about that big win by the Blues. Yes, it finished 12. Was it 12-24 or 14-28? 12-24, wasn't it? That's right. In the end, with the Blues really dominating and controlling, or more controlling than dominating, that second half. They'll be very happy that they didn't allow the Chiefs to cross over the whitewash. Big defensive display. The Chiefs will be very disappointed with probably their kicking tactics, to be honest with you. They really got their lengths wrong. And on a wet day where you're going to do a lot of kicking, when you get your lengths wrong and make it easy for the person to catch the ball, you really are setting yourself up for a long, hard day at the office. And boy, it was a wet one. I was there during the game and bringing you pre-match, halftime and full-time reports here on New Zealand Sports Radio. Just check out our Facebook page for those live updates from games that we can get around to around the country. That means it's a perfect start for the Blues with 2 wins. But you've got to say the Chiefs are in trouble now. 2 losses on the trot with an inexperienced front 5. You've got to say that they are looking at struggling. They're struggling with these new experience, with these new law variations and getting dominated up front. They really could do with some of their injured players coming back. But I do know that not Allardyce, I've gone blank. The Canadian international lock that they have has already left because he has a contract in Europe, so he's not going to be available for this part of the season. So, yeah, it looks like it's going to be a long road for the Chiefs there. Also, Stephen and I got out and around for some club footy as well yesterday. Stephen brought you reports from Waitemata versus Pakuranga up there in the Auckland Premiership, and I was at Melville versus Hamilton Old Boys. Again, bring you reports from that grassroots rugby as well. And Stephen, you got to talk to one of the faces, one of the names of the future down there playing for Waitemata Rugby Club, didn't you?
Yes, I did, Paul. Just in correction, that was the Waitemata Papatoetoe game.
Oh, sorry.
Yesterday. No, that's all good. Yeah, no, Nico Jones, son of the great Michael Jones, absolutely fantastic young man who he stepped into the number 8 jersey. I suspect he's more of a 7 than he is an 8, but he did it very, very adequately. There was a 35-minute stoppage in yesterday's club rugby game. There was a very, very serious injury. Papatoetoe winger on debut was was taken to hospital in a serious way. He was pretty much knocked out before he hit the ground. Nothing malicious. It was just a heavy tackle, and he collected a knee on the way down. So hopefully our thoughts are with this young guy. So I'll be looking to get some more information. I'll keep you updated on that, Paul.
Thank you very much, Stephen. And now it is time for the sport that just keeps on giving. It's our NRL update.
Yeah, it certainly does. It was a story that caught us all by surprise coming through about 6:30 last evening, but hey, we will crack on into it. The Warriors have sacked coach Stephen Kearney with 2 years remaining on his contract. The club today confirmed that Kearney has been let go after the Warriors' 40-12 defeat to the South Sydney Rabbitohs on Friday night. Assistant coach Todd Payten will be the interim replacement. The Warriors players and staff had been informed of the decision this afternoon. Stephen was informed this morning that we needed to make immediate change, said Warriors CEO Cameron George. It's a tough day for all of us, particularly after Friday night's performance. Stephen is extremely professional, has been put in a huge amount of effort in the role, but along with the owners, we feel we need to make a change now in the best interests of the club. We're so grateful to Stephen for the dedication he has shown to us in what have been difficult circumstances. His commitment, work ethic, and concern for the well-being of the club, players and their families through this challenging year is a testament to his character, and we wish him and his family all the best for the future. Kearney signed with the Warriors as head coach for the 2017 season, guiding the club to the finals in 2018. Payten, 41, joined the Warriors coaching staff last season after working with the Cowboys. He was a member of their coaching staff when they won the NRL Grand Final in 2015. During his 259 game playing career, he experienced grand final success when he helped the West Tigers to their maiden premiership in 2005. George said the club appreciated Payten stepping in to take up the role in an interim basis. He added he would now work with the owners on an agreed process to appoint a new head coach. Yeah, so that's how the cards have fallen. Please let us know your thoughts this morning. I know you're probably all shocked. I'm pretty sure Brad and also Sanjay will discuss it a lot more in detail on the standoff on Wednesday night on New Zealand Sport Radio. That show 8 p.m. But there has been some action on the field. We had 3 Saturday games yesterday, and the first of those games, probably not a game that reached great heights, but it was the St. George Dragons that secured a 20-8 win over the Gold Coast Titans at Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane yesterday. The win ensures the Dragons go back-to-back after defeating the Cronulla Sharks last weekend, turning around what was a horror start to the season, which included 4 losses in their first 4 games. The Dragons grabbed a 14-2 halftime lead overcoming some early resistance from the hosts and slippery conditions. The Titans drew first blood with an Ash Taylor penalty in the opening minutes, but from then on, it was all Dragons. It certainly takes the pressure off their coach, Paul McGregor. Impressive fullback Matt Duffy put Zach Lomax through a hole, and the centre used wonderful footwork to elude Thompson to score in the 17th minute. Winger Mikaeli Ravalawa then pounced on 5'8" Corey Norman's cutout pass to crash over in the 26th minute. Fullback Thompson, who arrived from the West Tigers this week, came off treatment after a high shot from Pereira midway in the first half. In a scrappy encounter, the Dragons grabbed a winning buffer when winger Jordan Pereira ran off clean to score in the 46th minute. So once again, that final score, the Dragons 20, Gold Coast 8, as we head into our second game, which was the West Tigers versus Queensland. Now, the West Tigers have hammered North Queensland with an equal best first half of joint ventures history before surviving a brief fight back to beat the Cowboys 36 points to 20 in the truest definition of the game of two halves. The Titans led 34-0 at the break before North Queensland gave them a scare with 3 tries in 7 minutes. However, any hopes of the Cowboys come back were put to bed when Essen Masters was penalised for taking Moses By off the ball. It allowed By to kick the Tigers back to 20 points to clear with 17 minutes to play, putting the game to bed and piling on pressure on Cowboys coach Paul Green. The win momentarily moved the Tigers into the top 8, but it may have come at a cost. Alex Twal suffered a medical injury to his knee, and he looks like spending a month on the sidelines. Winger Robert Jennings also suffered a hamstring injury while scoring a try, and Zane Musgrove left the field late with a knee injury, leaving some concerns for coach Michael Maguire ahead of next week's clash with Canterbury. The Cowboys missing Valentine Holmes, Michael Morgan, Jordan McLean were poor from the outset. Despite the Cowboys winning the scoring 22 in the second half, the game was as good as over as halftime. That full-time score again, beg your pardon. West Tigers 36, North Queensland Cowboys 20. And in the final game, well, we predicted it was going to be the game of the weekend, and it lived up to its billing. And informed Sydney Roosters have overcome a James Tedesco concussion scare to hand Parramatta their first defeat of the NRL season in a high-quality affair which matched its blockbuster billing. The Roosters fell behind midway through Saturday night's second half before storming home for the 24-10 win. However, there were serious concerns for Tedesco, who lay prone for 7 minutes after his attempted tackle on a breakaway Micah Seville. The back of Tedesco's head hit the Bankwest Stadium turf, and he was treated by Roosters medical officials. The Media drove out before reigning Dally M medalist slowly rose to his feet and walked off the field. Seville used Tedesco as a speed bump on his way to scoring a 59th minute try, which gave Parramatta their lead, the first of the match. And I've got to quickly say, before I carry on with the story, Hugh Rothwell, you're a genius. You actually predicted it by 8 points, so that was a very good call. I probably would have gone the other way. The incident kick-started an enthralling finish between the title heavyweights, with the Roosters captain Boyd Cordner reclaiming the lead soon after. The mayhem continued when the Eels firebrand Nathan Brown caught opposite Victor Radley high, resulting in a melee and a Kyle Flanagan penalty goal. It was one of 4 Flanagan penalty goals for the night, the last of which came after Michael Jennings was sin-binned for deliberately being offside. Roosters winger Daniel Tupou sealed the victory late in the contest, extending their lead and winning streak to 4 since the COVID-19 lockdown. Parramatta did well to concede just 1 try, doing an early Roosters blitz with Brett Morris, tip-tying it down the sideline in the 20th minute for the opening points. It was the only try of a high-octane first half, which featured plenty of desperate try-savers from both sides, including one by Brown on a flying Tedesco. The only other points came from the boot of Flanagan, who potted over 2 penalty goals due to Eels' indiscretions. Parramatta coach Brad Arthur also might have put the boot into his charges during the break, with the Eels bursting out of the blocks in the second half. 6 straight sets after the resumption resulted in the first try to Jennings, who shrugged off Joseph Manu to claim the 150th 4-pointer of his career. Jennings electrified the crowd at the stadium when he outfoxed Manu a second time to send Seville away for the only Roosters to flex their premiership muscles. Beg your pardon. That final score again. Roosters 24. Parramatta 10, and really in the end they actually won it going away. And just finally in games today, we've got 2 games to go. Our first game will be the Canberra Raiders versus the Sea Eagles. That's at Campbelltown Stadium. That's a 6:05 kickoff at New Zealand time. And our final game of round 6 is the Cronulla Sharks versus the Canterbury Bulldogs. And that kickoff scheduled for 8:30 p.m. this evening. And if you get through all of that, you deserve a medal. And I think I probably deserve a coffee this morning, Paul, after all that rugby league talk. I will catch my breath, hang in, see what's happening for the rest of the show. And listen up, just before I go, today I'll be posting up the club rugby results from around the northern region here in Auckland, the Harbour results, Northern results, and also the Auckland club rugby results. But I'll also be looking out for other sports as well. So do contact me or message me, and I've also got a Twitter handle as well, because it's so early in the morning I can't think what it is, Paul. So if you've got it there, I'll get you to post it. That's a big bumper of rugby league news today. Back to you, Paul. I'm going to grab my breath.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Yes, and look, folks, New Zealand Sports Radio here is to give all sports a platform. So if you have grassroots results that you would like us to read out, or if you have other news from your sports, then please let us know. For example, I'm about to go on and talk about some snow sports right now, but also, for example, the curling national mixed competition is coming up, Pez, and I'm hoping to get up to Auckland for the opening night of that to give it some coverage as well on our Facebook page. So look, folks, we are here to cover all sports, so please do help us to let us know what is going on. And moving on to that Snow Sports New Zealand, it's been a busy couple of days for them. They have opened up their newly renovated high performance medical and training hub recently. It was due to be finished in May, but obviously with the COVID lockdown, that got slowed down. But it has been, it is all now finished. So thank you very much to the Dunlop builders, local builders down there, who have done that. Not only have they got a gym down there, but also dry land training facility as well, with all sort of trampolines and bouncy things and stuff across multi-disciplines. So fantastic renovated facilities there for snow sports. Also, they have announced their calendar of events. It kicks off on the 27th of June up in Auckland with the junior interfield, but they've also got some events down in Wanaka, Mount Hutt, Queenstown, and Porters as well. So lots of events coming up in snow sports. So go check out the snowsports.co.nz for that calendar of events if you want to enter any of those events, or if you want to go and watch as well. So that is all coming up down there, which is great to see. What might not be coming up is the Women's Cricket World Cup. It looks like a scheduling clash could cause problems whilst New Zealand is in a place and has set exemptions for competitors to come in and take part in the event. The ICC are looking at the moment to also reschedule the men's T20 World Cup. And obviously there are thoughts that they wouldn't want to host both events at the same time or overlap them. So the Women's Cricket World Cup could be impacted there. So the whole schedule logjam of all these events people are trying to fit in a short amount of time could cause an issue with that for next year. We'll bring you up to date when we get further news, because they're looking at having it announced in July. So I'm sure Arsene will be all over that one, as will the boys from Swinging from the Hip, which is our cricket show, which happens at 8 p.m. on Thursday evening. The US Open has backtracked on its wheelchair mission, which is fantastic news. They were accused of disgusting discrimination by some of the wheelchair competitors. 3 options have been provided to the wheelchair players: either to go ahead with the event with a 95% of last year's prize pool, to have a standalone event in October, or to have that would be held down in Orlando, or to have $150,000 in compensation to be shared between the players because the event hasn't gone ahead. With I think it was 4,000 new cases of coronavirus in Florida, which is where obviously Orlando is. Overnight, you've got to say that you question whether they would want to go down to their for that for that option. But they're looking at voting on that on Monday. I believe it is. Hopefully by our Tuesday morning show, we'll have more news as to what's happening in the wheelchair tennis for the US Open. You have now started the day the best way, up to speed with all the important sports news. Don't forget you can listen to New Zealand Sports Radio on the go via our podcast. Just search for New Zealand Sports Radio on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or Acast. Thank you everybody who has watched and listened for your support of the of New Zealand Sports Radio. This is our 81st The Morning Sports Briefing. I missed the landmark 80th one yesterday, but congratulations to us. 81 days on the trot. We've been bringing this to you. That 100th edition is getting closer and closer. So thank you everyone for your support. Please do share and let your friends know about the channel.